Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the final pre-season friendly of the season. Heading towards the opening day versus Stoke City. It is going to be a very, very interesting one. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about in regards to team selection and things like that right now. Obviously, you look at some of the names missing, and obviously last night we played up against Forest Green Rovers, where you will have seen some of the big players for Derby County that are going to be key figures heading into this season. Also sort of getting some minutes on the board, which I think is massively important. But it's one of those for me where it's going to be a very, very interesting afternoon. Now, should we just take a brief look at that starting 11 for today? Obviously, it starts off in a 4-2-3-1, I'm anticipating, with Zetterstrom in goal, a back four of Nyambi, Rooney, Bath and Forsyth, a midfield three of Thompson, Kenzo and Adams, with a front three of Jackson, Corey Blackett-Taylor and Carlton Morris. Obviously, Ibu Adams takes the armband yet again. On the bench, we do have David Ozo back for the first time. Dejan Brown, back for the first time this pre-season. Obviously played the other day against Scunthorpe United. Welcome in, Scott. Hope you're okay, mate, over there in Florida. Hope the weather's nice. But it's good to see Dejan Brown back. I think he'll be a big part. I think he'll have a big season, whether it be a big season for Derby County or a big season elsewhere. I'm not entirely sure right now, but obviously we're going to have to wait and see. Now, if we do look ahead, look back on last night. David Ozo, Josh Vickers, Ben Osborne, Andreas Weimann, Joe Ward and Charles Ibuka all got minutes. David Ozo played 60. I think Osborne, Weimann and Ward all played 45. I imagine Ibuka got a full 90 and I imagine Josh Vickers got a full 90. But we have not sort of had full confirmation on that, to be fair. And we haven't actually had a match report, I don't believe. I will take another look in a minute, but I don't think we have had one yet. Now, obviously, who's missing from the team today? Owen Beck, Rhian Brewster, Matt Clark. Obviously, the injured players that we all know about, Ajimang, Langas, Selverson, Wilson, etc. We are also missing Callum Elder as well. Didn't play any part last night and hasn't been involved in the game today. Obviously, Beck and Clark were being managed for injuries into the game on Tuesday night, but it's obviously a very, very interesting one to see sort of how that's going to progress heading into Stoke. But who knows? Obviously, Rhian Brewster, another one who only signed yesterday, so you've sort of got to be careful with that one in regards to chucking him in too early, maybe not having a training session. We're sort of in that position where we don't really know the circumstance with him because he may have trained, but we don't know that right now. And obviously, if we look at the bench today, O'Donnell, O'Neill, Banks, Arsande, Harry Hawkins, Jerome Richards, Marcel Toller, Lennon Wilden, Isaac Gordon, Israel Green and Dejan Brown. Now, obviously, let's do a little bit of sort of a fact check in regards to the Max Johnston situation. Obviously, over the course of yesterday, it was reported that Derby County had had a £1.4 million bid rejected for the Scottish international fullback, who is obviously playing for Austrian champions Sturm Graz, I think it is. 21 years old. Very, very talented player, and it does seem as if Derby County are going to go a lot deeper for this transfer. I think they're going to make another offer over the course of the next few days, and maybe that could be one that's in for Stoke City, but obviously right now we don't know. As it looks at the minute, I think we're going to be in a position where Jake Rooney starts at centre-half, Ryan Nyambi at right-back. But it's a difficult one. Now, obviously, those of you who are in the comments, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts on the starting 11. Let me know what you're thinking heading into this season. It's obviously sort of a very, very interesting one to sort of see how this is all going to progress. Obviously, Ryan Nyambi got, half an hour the other night. So is he going to be fit and ready for Stoke City? You've got obviously like Joe Ward, Andy Weimann. Are they going to be able to play a part across the course of the next week or so, really, because there's a lot of sort of gambles to be made by Derby County over the course of the next few weeks and things like that, and we're obviously going to have to wait and see what happens with that one. Now, obviously, it's an intriguing one, and with every day as the transfer window goes by, we can have more and more conversations about what is ongoing. You obviously look at the situation in regards to that of Dejan Brown. You look at the likes of Charles Abuka and what's going to happen with their futures. You look at Jake Rooney as well. Now, I know he's been a big part of our pre-season, but you have that circumstance where both Jake Rooney, Dejan Brown, Charles Abuka, you look at the likes of Lennon Wheeldon, could all find themselves heading out on loan across the course of this transfer window. And sort of as we head towards deadline day, I think it will definitely be an assessment of where the likes of Patrick Agyemang, the likes of Rhian Brewster, the likes of Lars Jørgen Salvesen all sort of fit in. And obviously in that centre-back position with Jake Rooney, the right-back position, it's going to be all related to those sort of fitness levels and sort of where those players really sort of fit in. And it is going to be sort of a very interesting one to sort of see how that develops over the course of the next, let's say, couple of weeks or so. Thank you for sharing over on Facebook. It is a very, very sort of interesting one to sort of see where everything is all going to shake up across the course of obviously the next few weeks as we head towards the final few weeks of the transfer window, the start of the season, and everything that goes with that. Because obviously deadline day, whether it be Derby County or anybody, it's going to be a busy day, and that's obviously something which it could be players going out, it could be players coming in. It's just one that you've got to keep your eyes on and sort of see what does happen. Now, obviously, some of you may have been in here yesterday after Rhian Brewster signed. It was a very, very interesting stream. It was good to hear from a lot of you and hear your opinions and things like that on the signing of Brewster, the talks in regards to that of Ibu Adams and things like that, because there is a lot to sort of discuss and a lot to think about in regards of the transfer window and the moves Derby County have made, the moves that we're going to make in the future. Obviously, we've got that circumstance regarding Max Johnston, which we spoke about a few moments ago, where we've got to be sort of brutally honest in where sort of Derby County stand and where we're sort of going to go this season. Obviously, Rhian Brewster is one of those who's come in with a little bit of doubt in many people's minds, including myself. I'm not going to turn around and say that I'm not in sort of the group of potential doubters, because you don't really know sort of how he's going to shake up and how it's going to sort of work out for Rhian when he finally steps on the pitch for Derby County. Eli Coolin, score predictions for today. Now, obviously, it is only pre-season. I'm not going to turn around and say I know a lot about the Greek team that we're playing today. I think it's pronounced Atromitos, but obviously it's got to be an interesting one. We're going to have to put real good. We're going to have to create some opportunities. We're going to have to show patterns of play. For me, I think a 2-1 win maybe. I think everybody wants to keep that sort of clean sheet. I think everybody wants to sort of keep their eyes on sort of the back line and things like that, with obviously no Matt Clark, Craig Forsyth's in there again, Ryan Niambi's back. Can everybody stay fit? But also you then want to sort of look ahead to sort of how they're going to shake up against Stoke. I don't necessarily think that the result today is the be-all and end-all, but it's obviously really important that Derby County give a performance and sort of show their capabilities today. For me, I think against Solihull Moors the other day, I thought we were really good. I know that everyone's going to sort of turn around and go, oh, it's Solihull Moors. I think they're non-league at the minute. But you look at it and you go, yeah, they're not a great side, but they scored 2 screamers. Derby County a year or so ago would have absolutely crumbled, and we didn't. We scored some really nice goals. Corey Blackett-Taylor yet again was excellent, which is obviously massively important for Derby County. And it's one of those for me where if we can sort of move into the start of the season with sort of a bit of confidence, a couple more goals behind the likes of Corey Blackett-Taylor, maybe Caden Jackson, get Carlton Morris on the score sheet as well, I think it's going to put us in a really good position. Now, obviously, those of you who are in the chat, let me know your thoughts on the teams and stuff like that. Obviously, it's going to be sort of an interesting shout to see how Derby County shake up today. We're about 20 minutes away from kickoff, and Owen Bradley and Sean Barker are all go on Rams TV. We're in a really good position for me. It's a really interesting sort of pre-season I don't necessarily think the games have been the best. I don't know what your guys' opinions are on that. I do think that some of the games have been very sort of... The opposition-wise, I don't think has been that great, but it is difficult to sort of... Like, Solihull Moors isn't a great sort of opposition. Burton Albion you can deal with. We probably should have played better, but obviously they're a week ahead of us. Their season starts today. Obviously we played Red Bull Salzburg, which was a decent one, and then you've obviously got Matlock Town, obviously Forest Green last night. It's not as if we're playing like... I don't think we've not played a Premier League side. Yes, we've played Salzburg, who are Champions League team, but you sort of you want a bit of sort of English for me, and you want that top level English team as well. And it is obviously a little bit disappointing not to get one of those Premier League sides down at Pride Park, down at even more Farm for a behind closed doors friendly, which they may have done, to be fair, but we obviously don't know the answer to that right now. And we a lot of the time you won't actually get answers to these questions because obviously the clubs and stuff like to keep things to themselves and make sure that everybody is sort of looking after themselves, let's say, because that's the important thing. We get fit players, they get fit players, and you just sort of roll with it from there. Now, obviously, who is going to be sort of the key figure for Derby County heading into this season based on the squad that we've got available to us? I think obviously you've got to give massive talking points to obviously Ebo Adams. He's going to be a huge part of this Derby County squad going forward. You've got to give huge talking points to Corey Blackett-Taylor, who has been unbelievable throughout pre-season. Will he get sort of that opportunity to sort of show that in the league? Obviously, given the current squad depth situation, I don't think he's going to be sort of struggling for first team opportunities, especially the first few weeks of the season. We obviously don't know how it's going to sort of shake out come the end of the transfer window. As I keep saying, like, the next few weeks could be massive in regards to the transfer window and what Derby County choose to do and how they choose to build over the course of the next few weeks. Obviously, you've got Max Johnston, who I spoke about earlier on this live stream. I spoke about in a video yesterday, who is an absolute, in my opinion, brilliant player and a brilliant prospect. You don't play internationally at 21 years old unless you've got something about you. And for me, he certainly does have something about him. And the intriguing thing is going to be how much Derby County end up paying, because obviously, if you haven't seen my video earlier today or you haven't been following across the Derby County Callum Britton scenario, it looks as if Britton is going to be heading to Middlesbrough for a fee within the region of around £3.5 million. And obviously you look at sort of the age range with Callum Britton. I think he's 27, 28, and we're potentially bringing in a player cheaper that's younger with a lot more room to grow, and that sort of opens the door to sort of where Derby County can go in the future. Ethan, do you have any injury updates? Who is going to be unavailable for the start of the season? So, as I know it, you've got Sondre Langas is going to be missing out. Patrick Ajimangi is going to be missing out. You obviously then, Lars-Jørgen Selverson is going to be missing. You've got Kane Wilson is going to be missing. And they're the four that are like guaranteed to be missing that opening day. And I don't think any of them are going to be back until after the first international break, which I believe starts around September 2nd. You've obviously then got the current circumstances with Owen Beck, Callum Elder, and who else is there? Owen Beck, Callum Elder and Matt Clark, who we don't actually have sort of an update on. We was told, I think it was Tuesday night, that it was just precaution, which it may well still just be precaution heading into this game, making sure they're fit and available for that first game of the season. But at the moment, it's looking as if they might potentially miss out next week. But obviously the hope is that they're sort of back available and in the running for the opening day of the season. Now, will they be back? Who knows? But the four that we know are missing is again, Sondre Langas, Lars Jorgen Selverson, Kane Wilson, and Patrick Agimang, who I believe they're all pretty much out for the next 2 months. Oh, there's Curtis Nelson as well. Completely forgot about Nelson. Nelson is back training. I believe he is at Pride Park today. I think BBC Radio Derby discussed that earlier on. But Curtis Nelson is another one set to miss out at the start of the season. Obviously, got to be careful with him with an ACL injury, and obviously with him, I'm not going to say he's coming towards the end of his career, but he's obviously in the latter stages, which means you've got to be sort of careful with those sort of knee injuries and even the muscle injuries and things like that. And as we're sort of heading sort of towards the key stages of the season, you'd rather have your Langas, Nelsons, Selversons, Wilsons, you'd rather have them all fit and have a pretty much full squad heading into let's say November, December, then rush them back now, have them for the first few games of the season, and then obviously lose them around November time because they weren't given the proper rehab. So we're sort of going to have to see on that one. It will sort of be an interesting call to see where when they actually come back in. I think my expectation is that first international break, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. Throbbing Williams, come on you Rams, let's go. Let's go. Now, some of you in the chat may have been involved in the raffle. If you didn't know, the winner was announced and has been contacted. That will be getting sorted out over the course of the next few days. I really appreciate everybody who did get involved in that. It was a good opportunity to see what sort of my group of subscribers, viewers are sort of interested in. Just wanted to give everyone the opportunity to win a shirt for cheaper than expected. But as we say, Derby County, it's never easy. It's the Derby County way, and we're heading into the start of the season with some big players missing. We're heading into this game with some big players missing, Matt Clark, Owen Beck, and it's going to be interesting. Now, obviously, this is like the first watch-along I've ever done on this channel. Not the first live stream. I've obviously done a couple in the past. I did one after Leeds away around December time. Obviously did one for the fixture release and yesterday. And we're going to sort of see if we can bring these for pretty much all the away games across the course of this season. So obviously if that's something you want to see, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. It will keep you up to date with everything that's going on in regards to Derby County and things like that. I try and keep up to date with all the news, transfers, injuries, everything like that. And obviously as the season gets going, we're going to be keeping up to date with all the press conferences and stuff like that, whether it be players, managers, academy staff, whatever pops up, we're going to look at, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to sort of move on from there. And obviously over the course of the next few months maybe, obviously going to turn these live streams not just into Derby chats but other stuff as well, where maybe we chuck on FIFA or something like that, Football Manager, if that's something you guys are interested in across the course of the season, to sort of just jump on and have a chat and see what's going off, do something in the background and just sort of go from there. Now, it is going to be interesting. We're about 12 minutes away from kickoff. And if you weren't in already, shall I just give you a rundown of the team and what Derby County have got facing them for this upcoming season. Now, if we go on to the team news, for those of you that weren't in here before, it's Zetterstrom in goal, a back four of Niambi, Rooney, Danny Bath and Craig Forsyth, a midfield three of Thompson, Kenzo and Adams. I will imagine Adams is going to be in the 10 again, which, as some of you may know, I'm not a particular fan of. And then a front three of Jackson, Blackett-Taylor and Morris. And we have a bench of O'Donnell, O'Neill, Banks, Asande, Hawkins, Richards, Toller, Wilden, Isaac Gordon, Israel Green and Deshaun Brown. Now, if you do have any questions, just chuck them in the chat. I'll be sure to answer them for you guys and give you my opinions on things. Obviously, injuries has been a big talking point, which obviously we've spoke about. There's a lot of people discussing it over on Twitter right now in regards to the circumstances that are ongoing with those injuries, where ultimately we are missing some key figures. But I think what people really need to sort of keep their eyes on is the fact that we knew 4 or 5 of them were going to be missing, and realistically, we knew they weren't going to be back for the first, let's say 5 or 6 games. Just jump on over to FOTMob and get the fixtures up. I'll be able to tell you how many games they will probably miss. Now, if we go to Derby County fixtures and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games until the first international break, which comes after an away game up against Ipswich Town, and that's where I'm expecting pretty much everyone to be back. As long as we obviously don't pick up any more injuries, I expect everyone to be back for that West Brom away game. And obviously that's something which we're going to have to keep up against in terms of injuries and things like that. Adrian, what is your score predictions? I spoke about this a little bit earlier. I'm hoping for a 2-1 derby, but I think the important thing is making sure that we pick up obviously a good performance. We put in the best possible display that we can, and we show exactly what we've showed across the course of the last few weeks in regards to that of especially at Solihull Moors. We really started to see some patterns of play come through with the likes of Ibu Adams, the likes of Kenzo Halbmine, the likes of Liam Thompson as well, where they all sort of started to find their rhythm in regards of finding each other and being able to play those quick 1-2s, the one-touch passing and things like that. And obviously that's something which we'll see hopefully tonight and then going on into the season. Ethan, don't understand why they don't play Kenzo Cam and have Ibu sit in CDM. Kenzo much more of an attacking play style compared to Ibu, and he's tough to get past and should sit. Now, we spoke about this yesterday when I was live discussing Rhian Brewster and sort of like where Rhian Brewster is going to play. Now, I don't think long term Ibu Adams is going to be in that sort of number 10 role, but I also don't think Kenzo is going to go into that role either. I think we're more likely to have a rotation between Andy Vyman and Rhian Brewster in that 10 than Kenzo or Adams. I think when you look at Ibu Adams, obviously, I completely agree. I think he's wasted as a number 10, but you've also got to look at the defensive output that he gives in regards to the press and things like that, which I think he's absolutely brilliant at in regards to being that number 10. But it's got to be done in a rotation. It's got to be fluid. But obviously, with the reintroduction of David Ozo, you've got a massive situation where you really can sort of move Ibu Adams out the way and just have Ozo as that sitter. You give Kenzo that sort of free role where he can go and pick up the ball wherever he needs it, essentially, whether it be off the centre halves, off the right back, left back, whatever, and he can then make things happen. We saw it, I think it was against Burton. He picked up the ball really deep and then played the ball through. I think it was for Ibu Adams, who then set it off for Corey Blackett-Taylor, with Adams getting injured in the process. But it's definitely one which it does need to be looked at and checked, but I think Kenzo's going to have that position sort of like that of Lewis Travis had at Blackburn Rovers, where sit a little bit deeper but you dictate in the play. And I think you could even have David Ozo in that role as well, both technically good on the ball. It's just going to be interesting to see the process of how we make Kenzo Halbmine an important player, because that's what he's got to be this season for me. He's got to be important. I'm not saying we spent a ton on him, obviously, because I think if we go back to last season, I think it was only about £600,000. But it's one of those deals where you really want to sort of make the most out of what you've got and things like that. And you want to make sure that those players who you see have that quality actually bring it out. We had a similar situation with Kane Wilson when he first came to Derby. As much as he showed those glimpses of greatness, over the course of his first month or so just couldn't really get into a rhythm. And then I think once he got fit, I think he was brilliant. And I think the big problem with Kenzo was last season, throughout December and January, was sort of playing on a knock, and Warren was pulling him out, putting him back in, pulling him out. And I think he should have just been pulled out, if I'm completely honest, and sort of gone from there. Whereas, obviously, if you sort of look at the situation in regards to Kenzo this season, I think he's going to have a much different role for me. But that's obviously one which we'll have to wait and see across the course of the season, because that's sort of where your understanding is going to come from. Now, Ethan, yeah, I agree with having Kenzo in a free role, but I feel at the moment he's being restricted, staying lower down the pitch. I completely agree, and I completely understand what you're seeing, because I'm seeing it as well. It's definitely one of those situations which I think as the season progresses, it'll become more fluid in the middle of the park, where Kenzo will take up those spaces and get himself higher up the pitch. And I think a lot of it will come down to how we're playing as a team. And I think when you look at games against teams who we're maybe going to have more possession and be better than, I think Kenzo will be higher up the pitch. I think games where Kenzo's probably, we've got less of the ball, we're sitting a bit deeper, I think Kenzo will obviously be a lot deeper. It may even end up being sort of a rotation between Ibu and Kenzo in those sort of games. But obviously, realistically, they may not, all three of them, like Ozo, Ibu and Kenzo, might not even all play together in terms of the midfield three. So it is an interesting one, and obviously we're not really going to know until we've played 4-5 games sort of how the midfield is going to shake up. And ultimately then, until you've got the likes of Ajimang back, you've got Wilson back, you've got Selverson, Langas, we still don't really have a true picture of how this team is going to look, because they're going to add something completely different. Ajimang is a different striker to Carlton Morris. Selverson's a different striker to Morris. You bring Brewster in, is different. You bring Wilson back, he's a different type of right back to Niambi, a different type of right back to Rooney. JB Banton, I really want to see Wilson attacking right wing, let Niambi or Rooney stay wing back. I agree. I just think with Wilson, I think that a lot of his sort of strengths come from that sort of position of winning the ball deeper and picking up the ball in our own half and dragging it up. Could he do that in a right wing position? I think there's obviously a possibility, but obviously you look at the potential signing of Max Johnston, which we spoke about on the channel yesterday, and we're talking about obviously again now, and we've spoke about in this live stream. I think it sort of opens the door for a proper rotation at right back, and it also gives that position of where Wilson can move further up the pitch if he needs to. Now, Robin Williams, Blackett-Taylor has done much better under Eustace. Completely agree. But I think Blackett-Taylor was always a good player. I've always had my sort of inkling that Blackett-Taylor would sort of take up, once fit and once given a proper pre-season, I always thought it'd sort of go above and beyond and be much better than we anticipated. Because you go back to Pompey, I think it was Blackpool as well, in League One, he was an outrageous player. He was incredible. And the problem that we sort of faced with him was an injury situation which just didn't work. And it sort of left Derby County a little bit sort of in the lurch, where they just couldn't get him on the field. Now, we are just moments away from kickoff. So for those of you who have just joined, I've just seen a jump in viewership. Let's go on to the team and let's see how that is all shaping up for those of you who weren't in here. So it's a in goal, Jakub Zetterstrom, back four of Niambi, Rooney, Bath, Forsyth, Thompson, Forsyth left back, a midfield three of Thompson, Kenzo and Adams, with Adams holding the captain's armband, a front three of Jackson, Blackett-Taylor and Morris. Dejon Brown is back on the bench with O'Donnell, O'Neill, Banks, Asande, Hawkins, Richards, Toller, Wilden, Gordon and Green. No Beck, no Brewster, no Clark, no Callum Elder either, and we're going to have to wait and see how it all shakes out for Derby County as this season gets going. Now, obviously, yes, the final pre-season friendly of the season up against Greek team. I think they're called Atromitos, but you can correct me in the comments if you know what they're actually called. And it is going to be interesting to see how it develops today, because this is a massively important game for Derby, where I think, and I put a tweet out and I put something out on YouTube community earlier today, that I think this starting 11 is probably pretty close to what we're going to see next week. So we're going to have to wait and see how it gets going. Now, we're just moments away from kickoff. Derby County, Ibu Adams and the goalkeeper of their team doing their captain's flag switch. The ball has been presented and they're about to do their coin toss, and we're going to see sort of how this game goes for Derby County. It's going to be an interesting one. It is going to be very, very interesting. What are your score predictions then in the comments? Let me know what you think. How do you think Derby are going to get on today? How do you think we're going to shake up in a week's time? Obviously, I imagine some of you have probably got the game on next to you as well. So let me know your thoughts as the game goes on. It's going to be sort of an interesting shake-up for Derby. It is. And let's get into it. We will have the timing on the board in just a moment. You can obviously see the pitch in the top. Is it left-hand corner for you? It's left-hand corner for me. So let's see how this all shakes up for Derby County. Obviously can't have the game on screen. I'm not entirely sure about commentary. We'll deal with that at a later date. The opposition, the away side, do have Kickoff. Let's keep ourselves across this. There's a decent turnout for a pre-season friendly, to be completely honest with you. But let's see sort of how this shakes up for Derby. Let's see if Derby County can pick up a victory. 3-0 to the Super Rams from Scott. Let's hope it will be really good to see. Obviously, some of you may be F1 fans as well. I know Hungarian qualifying is going on as well. We'll keep an eye on that while we're going. And we are away. The timing will pop up in that corner, I do promise, once Rams TV put it on the screen. There you go. We are just 12 seconds in. Craig Forsyth winning a brilliant header. Let's see how this all shakes out. Let's see if Derby County can put in a good performance. Obviously, let me know what you think down in the comments as the game goes on. Obviously, Jake Rooney in at that centre-back position. 2-1, Blackett-Taylor, Caden Jackson. Would not have a problem with that at all. Ibu Adams gives the ball away. Ibu Adams is one of those players that you love to have him on your team for that defensive work rate. You don't particularly sort of have all the right ideas in regards to that of going forward. Niambi's done a good job there, winning the ball back after a ball was put through over the top. It's his first start of pre-season. It'll be interesting to see. I imagine he'll probably be the starter heading into next week's game against Stoke City. It's obviously a big game. First game of the season. Obviously, it doesn't define your season, but it gives you a good idea of how things are going to go and how you're going to fit in. And Stoke have made some decent moves themselves, and it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes up next week. It's a bit of a possession game at the moment, just a minute in, but I think that is Liam Thompson who's just disposed of the ball himself, but then giving it away. It's going to be interesting. It's a difficult one. Let's see what Derby can do then. It is looking like a 4-2-3-1 again, like we've seen for a majority of pre-season. Danny Bath stepping up, giving away a free kick on the halfway line. Not exactly what you want to give away on the halfway line, is it? But you'd rather give it away on the halfway line than in your own area or on the edge of the box sort of thing. So let's see. It is a bit disappointing though, isn't it? You guys can let me know your thoughts. I'm pretty sure only Morris and Bath have played out of the new signings, and obviously Vyman, but only like 40 minutes. So it's really disappointing we've not been able to see those new signings step in. You obviously want them to sort of find their rhythm with the team, and ultimately they sort of haven't been able to because most of them aren't fit. So it's difficult, but obviously it means there's quality to come back into the squad and things like that. So we're gonna have to sort of wait to see our best team. We are obviously today. I don't even know if this is our strongest squad in regards to what we have available. Something which we'll have to find out. I imagine Ozo will be involved. We'll just have to wait and see. It's cross into the box. It's blocked. Strike from the edge of the goal. Edge of the goal. Edge of the box. I think Zetterstrom had that covered, to be fair. Adam's energy is fantastic, but doesn't turn into opportunities. Agree with Ethan, get him as a CDM. I do agree. I don't. He's one of those players who you love to have running around the pitch. You just don't want him to touch the ball. And that's no offence to Ibu Adams. I think many people feel that way in regards to like the way he plays and things like that. He's obviously got a lot of quality, and you cannot doubt the quality for a minute in that sort of defensive standpoint. But on the other end of the pitch, he just doesn't have it, in my opinion. And obviously we're going to have to wait and see if he can sort of, will he drop back in? Will he sort of stay in that 10 role next week? Obviously that's something which we're going to have to find out. Mr. Big Eustace just isn't showing his cards. Now, you know what? Could be absolutely spot on with that one. You absolutely could be. It could be a case of just getting minutes in the legs, things like that. getting people to know their roles, putting people in positions that they don't really sort of understand or don't really know, in a sense. And do I think that's the wrong thing to do? No. Do I think it's a good move by Eustace if that's what he's doing? Absolutely. Why not sort of hide things, in a sense, because you don't want everyone to know what you're going to do. You don't really want to know how it's going to shake out. But obviously, we know that we're going to be defensively resolute. We know that we're going to be solid in that sort of position because that's what we did last season, and they're the same sort of players that we've got. So it's sort of going to sort of stick to that sort of position for me. Mr. Big, Adams will drop back in with Ozo. I definitely think that's a possibility. I don't know if he was in here earlier, but I'm under the impression that it's going to be like a front four with Brewster or Vyman as the 10, which I think will then put Ozo and Adams deeper. But we're going to have to wait and see, because Eustace did use Lewis Travis, who's not necessarily sort of your most defensive midfielder, in that sort of deeper role where he was obviously sort of like the dictator for Blackburn last season. So we're going to have to see sort of how it works. But I think we're going to be one of those, especially with the team at the minute, in regards to like Bath, Fozzie, we're going to be sort of a deep sitting team heading into that Stoke game. Obviously, you hope that Clark's back. You hope that maybe we can get Johnson in early doors next week and have him available. But obviously, at the moment, you've just got to sort of wait and see how it all sort of shakes out, because injuries are a big problem at the moment, but it's not something that we didn't know or anticipate with like the amount of players that finished last season on injuries. You knew there was going to be a carryover. And I think that falls into that sort of defensive area. It falls into especially the forward area as well. I know a lot of people have been talking about the options that we have available and things like that. And I think as much as the options maybe aren't as good as they probably could be because of fitness, we've still made the squad better for me. And that's the important part. And that's what we sort of want to see. We want to see the squad getting better as a whole. Like last season, our 4 centre-backs were Kashim, Rooney, Bradley and Nelson. We've come into this season with Nelson, Langas, Clark, Rooney can play in that position. You've got Fozzie as well. And we may even add more. Depends if Ozo can spend some time this season not being injured. Hang on a minute. Throw on goal. He's absolutely scuffed that. What was he doing? Through on goal, 1-on-1 with Zetterstrom. I think Danny Bath got in just in time to cause a problem, but that wasn't great. Hang on. It was Danny Bath that got pulled out. Rooney comes across to the 32. He takes a shot on goal wide of the post. Yeah, you're completely right on Ozo. If he can stay fit, we know we've got one of the best midfielders in the division. I know it's one of those where that's sort of the problem. It's fitness. It's I'm not going to turn around and say decision making is a problem, because his decision making is brilliant and his tackling, his reading of the game is unbelievable. But it's those sort of positions where, as the moment you lose somebody, it causes so many problems, and that's what we saw last season. It completely changed Kenzo, completely changed the whole midfield outfit. I think we ended up having to go to. We tried to play with the back four, but obviously because of the midfielders we had available, it was really difficult. Obviously with Osborne getting injured as well and things like that. But we're 7 minutes in, only had one opportunity at the moment, which has come from the opposition. But Carlton Morris wins a header on the edge of the box. Ibu Adams can't quite get there, and Kenza Holdmine wins another header just on the halfway line. We're on for 38 viewers. Thank you all for joining. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell as well to stay tuned for all of my latest content. Obviously keeping up to date with Derby County and everything and that jazz. We're going to be bringing like gaming live streams and stuff like that over the course of like August and September. I do go away for a week in September, but we'll try and get some going before the end of then, and we're going to keep these watch-along streams going over the course of that time as well. Come on, you Rams. Are you watching on Rams TV? I am watching on Rams TV, mate. Yes. With Owen Bradley and Sean Barker commentating. I know people have their thoughts on Sean Barker as a commentator. I think he's a decent bloke. Corey Blackett-Taylor's breaking. He beats his man. He's going to put a ball into the box. Finds Ibu Adams and he hits the Is he at the post or is he at Carlton Morris? That was a really, really good opportunity by Derby County. Really good bit of play from Corey Blackett-Taylor. Stands up his man, beats him down the line, puts a ball into the box, and Ibu Adams, I think he hits the post, but it might have been Carlton Morris who he hits. Going for fun, just got tickets to Stoke away. I'm pumped, buzzing for you, mate. It's going to be, hopefully, a great game. Pretty sure it's a sellout away end as well, which is obviously always brilliant to be a part of. No, Ibu Adams hits the crossbar, by the way. Didn't hit anybody else, just hit the crossbar. So, Derby County are finding their way into this game. We're 9.5 minutes in. Adams has had an opportunity. Their number 32 has had an opportunity. It is a game of the 32 so far. I don't actually think we're playing that badly. Obviously, showing ourselves as that sort of defensive, deep, rugged team that we saw last season, and I think that is going to be sort of the consistent theme that we see across the course of this season. To be completely honest, are you going to be there? Do you mean Stoke? If you do, I'm not, unfortunately. I don't attend away games at the minute. Maybe it's something that I'm going to do in the future, but for the moment, I'm sort of not at those away games. Going to be doing these sort of watch-along type things. So I know there's a lot of people who sort of miss out on those sort of away experiences, and it gives them an opportunity to keep up with everything that's going off if they aren't able to get hold of Rams TV and things like that. So Eustace made some great transfer choices. Morris, Bath already making a difference. Completely agree, like 100% agree. I think Danny Bath has been brilliant across the course of pre-season. I think Carlton Morris in what we've seen so far has been really good as well. Obviously, there's still a lot for Morris to learn in regards of Caden Jackson, in regards of Corey Blackett-Taylor, and making sure he gets into the right areas. But in my opinion, a really, really good striker. There's a reason he scored 10 goals in the Premier League, just 2 years ago. So for me, great moves have been made. It's just about making sure everything gels and everything works well, which I think at the moment we're sort of in that position where because of the injuries we've got, we sort of haven't really got that sort of start, if that makes sense. This is my first proper away game. Had hospitality in Hull, but wasn't in the away end. What a game that was. I'm assuming you mean when Nat Phillips scored in like the 86th minute. Unbelievable game. Like, honestly, I don't think there's many better feelings. Obviously, many people may look back at the promotion, and many people will look back at maybe the playoff final where Stephen Pearson scored, but I don't think many beat those late goals up against a rival in your position. Obviously, Hull stayed up, but definitely something interesting to keep across. I wouldn't mind to see Ibu and Ozo play together as CDMs, then have Kenzo slightly higher up the pitch in that free roll we were on about earlier. Yeah, 100%, completely agree. I do personally believe that Adams and Ozo will end up sitting as that deeper lying set, but obviously at the moment it's one of those where we only bought Ozo in a week ago, hadn't had any minutes and needed to get some, so I had to play last night. So we're going to have to sort of wait and see how that one shakes up. Morris has to learn that Jackson is pony. Yeah, obviously, got to sort of keep your opinions of Jackson in that sort of, can he find form again? Don't really know, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. Greetings from Greece. Where can I watch the game? You can watch the game on Rams TV. I believe it's £5. £5. I'm not sure what that will work out in. I imagine your euros if you're in Greece. But yeah, it's £5 on Rams TV. You just have to create an account on there, which is pretty simple. And you've got full game and stuff like that to be able to watch right now. Obviously, you'll see in the top left-hand corner, just 30 minutes in, so there's a good chunk of the game left to go. Half an hour of this first half. As we put a lovely ball across the pitch to find Corey Blackett-Taylor. Touch beats his man. He's dragged. He's taken down. That's a third penalty Blackett-Taylor has won in a row. Blackett-Taylor has just got something about him in this pre-season. That's a third penalty. Is he going to give it to Carlton Morris? No. Blackett-Taylor's taking it. Predictions for next week. Personally, I think 3-1 win. It's difficult to make a prediction right now because we don't know Clark, Beck's fitness and things like that. But I'm going to say I think it'll be a 1-goal game. I'm hoping 1-0 Derby County. I'd love it to be Carlton Morris, but we'll have to wait and see. Are you planning on doing some watch-alongs this year? Yes. Yeah, that's the plan, away games. Yes, it's a penalty. Corey Blackett-Taylor is stepping up. If you're an Atromitos fan, welcome in. You've been playing pretty well so far. Penalty definitely deserved. Blackett-Taylor beat your defender with his first touch, then got dragged down going into the box as he skipped inside. He's stepping up to take it after just 14 minutes. This is going to be, I think, his 5th goal of pre-season. Stands up, does his run up, faces up the goalkeeper, shoots and scores into the right-hand corner for the goalkeeper, left hand for Corey Blackett-Taylor. That is 1-0 to Derby County after 14 minutes and 37 seconds. Very, very good bit of play by Corey Blackett-Taylor, by the way. It was an excellent crossfield ball. I think it came from Jake Rooney. Corey Blackett-Taylor took the touch, beat his man, won the penalty after he cuts inside again. It's one of those penalties that often gets given away, but it's a very, very good one. I think that's the third penalty. Is that the third penalty of pre-season that Corey Blackett-Taylor's won, or is it the third or fourth? But he's done very, very well this pre-season for me. Come on, you Rams, absolutely. We're in a very, very good position right now. Obviously, if you haven't done so already, hit like, hit subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. If you're watching the game, let me know that. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments so far. Obviously, it's been a bit of an up and down game. Both teams have had a chance each. Obviously, Derby County then winning the penalty to make it 1-0. Very, very good start for Derby County. Obviously, got to make sure that you make those opportunities yourself, and Corey Blackett-Taylor has done brilliantly there to make that happen for me. And you can't really downplay the importance of a player like Corey Blackett-Taylor as we head into this season for me. Very, very good player. Very good. Now we've got that 1-goal lead, we're definitely sort of relaxing. I say that as Craig Forsyth pummels a ball into Danny Bath. But hey-ho, we go with it. Just sort of knocking the ball about right now. I think it's Kenzo on the ball now. Finds Caden Jackson. Switch of play to Fozzie where it's wide open. What's your opinion of the squad? I'm liking the look of it. Think it's enough at top 6. Spoke about this yesterday on live stream with talking about Rhian Brewster, and I think we're in that position where we're sort of teetering on the edge of having top 6 quality, but maybe not throughout the entire squad. I think there's still a few bodies in the squad that need improving. I think Liam Thompson, obviously a very good player, but I think there's improvements that can be made there. You look at even like someone like Ibu Adams. I'm not saying that he's a bad player at all, but there's always improvements that you can make. And obviously at the moment we're playing a young lad in Jake Rooney at right centre half. And that obviously puts you in a position where you're sort of in a little bit of the unknown, and you don't really know sort of where it's going to shake out. But I think for me, if we can finish 13th or above, I think I'll be quite happy. For me, it's just a case of slow improvements, but I think we're definitely in a position where if everything goes well, we keep players fit, we can certainly maybe be in the conversation. Obviously, at this time last season, we was all sort of praying for 21st, and it's definitely an improvement in terms of fan standpoint, and hopefully that sort of carries on. CBT on fire at the moment, absolutely. And hopefully that's something that can carry on heading into the season. He's a player who is definitely sort of a 50-50 call, because he's not quite yet made his mark when it comes to league form, has he? So it's interesting. It's interesting in regards of where he could go. Who scored? It was Corey Blackett-Taylor. Paul Corey Blackett-Taylor from the penalty spot. He won the penalty as well. It was, I think, Jake Rooney pinged the ball across the pitch. First touch beat his man, second touch beat the other man, and then was dragged down in the box. Similar to the one at Solihull Moors, actually, if you were able to see how he got dragged in that one. But very, very good from him, to be completely honest. And we know how good Corey Blackett-Taylor has been. Kenzo has just been taking that in the box. No, he stays up, keeps the ball in play, wins a throw-in. With Clark, Langas, Nelson back, Wilson, Beck, Wilson and Elder injured, what do you think our backline will look like for the start of the season? I think for the start of the season, we're probably looking at, say, Zetterstrom, Niambi, Rooney, Bath and Forsyth, if I'm completely honest. But obviously we don't know the situation in regards of whether Clark will be back fit. We don't know if Beck will be fit. We don't know sort of the situation on them. But obviously it's an interesting one. There's a little bit of a scuffle going on with Carlton Morris, bumping each other, not happy because he's grabbing the ball. But yeah, I sort of think the backline's going to be sort of that biggest talking point, if I'm completely honest, because of the players that we have injured. And realistically, once they're all back, the backline's going to completely change for me, because once everyone's back fit, you've got, I think it would then be Wilson, Langas, Clark, Beck, but the only one that really then, I don't think any of the back four then stay that may start next week. But obviously, as I've said a few times, I think Jake Rooney's earned a starting opportunity, and if you earn that starting opportunity and you perform well, why should you be forced out the starting 11 for someone who's been injured? I just don't think that's necessarily fair. But obviously we're going to sort of wait and see on that one, because it's all about those sort of injury situations and things like that, which we're going to have to sort of progress with, to be honest. But we're 20 minutes in. Derby County are doing all right. Since scoring the goal, we've sort of held on to possession a little bit better. Right now, Carlton Morris has just beat his man, won himself a throw-in, which is very good. Right up in the opposition half, about in line with the 18-yard box. I think Carlton Morris is having a good game, to be quite honest with you. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know. Liam Thompson breaks out. Do you know, Jake Rooney, I think Jake Rooney, unbelievable. Genuinely, I think Jake Rooney is like another level. I think the fact that he's so young and has stepped in at holding midfield under Rhian, stepped in at centre-back and right-back under Paul Warne, plays centre-back and right-back now under Eustace. The fact he didn't make an appearance last season, I think, is disappointing. Blackett-Taylor's standing his man up. Ooh, it's a great cross. Just didn't drop. And we've won ourselves a throw-in on the far side of the pitch. Do you know something? I know I was talking about it earlier, playoffs. I'm not going to say we're going to get the playoffs, but there is an opportunity. There is. And we don't know where we're sort of going to shake up. It is interesting. I think this season's going to be an interesting one in terms of teams and divisions. You look at obviously Birmingham and Wrexham and things like that. They've obviously spent a ton of money, and that's obviously sort of going to have a huge impact on sort of their standing. Do you think with how CBT has played in pre-season, he'll be a starter for the first games of the season? Absolutely. I think, 5 goals, 3 assists across the course of pre-season so far. I don't know how you can not start him. But then I also don't think that we have anybody else to replace him with, if that makes sense. I don't think we have another left-sided winger who could potentially play that position. I wouldn't really want to put Jackson on the left. I know Brewster can play on the right. I know Vyman can play either side, but I'd rather Vyman be behind the striker, like he was at Bristol, like he was at Blackburn. But honestly, who knows? Football is an interesting game, and you never really know where everything sort of stands and where it all sort of like stands out, because what we're seeing might be completely different to what Eustace sees and what the analysts see and things like that, because there's a reason why Adams is playing as the 10, there's a reason why Kenzo is playing a bit deeper, but we obviously don't know that reason. I don't think we've had the opportunity to know either this pre-season. Obviously, if you go back to last year, we had a lot more pre-season coverage, in my opinion, in terms of interviews and things like that. Now, I'm not saying we've not had many interviews, but we've just not had as many than we did last year, I don't think. I could be wrong. I could be absolutely chatting bollocks, but I genuinely believe that we've not had as much. in terms of especially the manager. So we're just going to have to wait and see sort of how it sort of shakes out over the course of the first few games of the season, and then when everybody gets back fit. Kenzo looking sharp, Morris looking good, Niambi a bit rusty, as expected with the injury. You're completely spot on. I'm seeing exactly what you're seeing. I do think that if Clark is fit, I think Rooney may start at right back, and Clark and Niambi being on the bench. Obviously Clark is the left-sided centre half, but obviously that all depends on Clark being fit and things like that. I think I don't know how many of you follow me on Twitter, but I put a tweet out about Jake Rooney after the Solihull game, and I think of all the youngsters that have stepped up, I think he is the one that, in my opinion, has earned a start for the first game of the season. I know a lot of people might mention Charles Abuka, who obviously has been brilliant. I don't quite think he's earned a start though. Maybe a bench appearance, but not entirely a start. And that's sort of the position that Rooney has put Eustace in, where he's sort of got that call now to make with Rooney. Does he play right back? Does he play right centre half? Does he not play? I think if he doesn't play, then we've obviously got sort of a huge discussion to have about those youngsters for me, because Eustace has done a lot of talking about youth opportunities and building the academy, and obviously at the moment, if you look at that team on the pitch, Rooney isn't our academy product. Obviously Dejan Brown is on the bench, and obviously the bench is full of academy products, but it's one of those where we're sort of in a little bit of no man's land with those academy products. I think there's a lot that could step up, but it's about actually giving them the opportunity and being in a position to give them the opportunity, which I don't quite think we were in last season, but we're going to have to wait and see if Eustace feels like we are across the course of this. I think with obviously 9 subs, you've got to sort of, in my opinion, I think at least one of them has to be a young player that you would give an opportunity to. At least one. And for me, that doesn't include Dejan Brown or Jake Rooney. I think Dejan Brown and Jake Rooney class as first team players now, senior players, because Dejan Brown's been around the first team for two seasons. Obviously Rooney's been around the first team since Liam Rosenior was here. So for me, they're classed as seniors. So for me, you've got to have like an Abuka, a Cruz Allen, a Niall McAndrew, a Harry Hawkins on the bench to potentially give them opportunities. I'm not saying that those are going to be the players that get the opportunities, but for me, that's what I'd do if I was Eustace. Because if you don't give them opportunities, you don't give them that chance. People need to calm down about starting academy players this early in the season. We should be looking at starting them when we're in a comfy position later in the season. I don't disagree. I definitely don't disagree. I just think that if we go to Stoke next week, and I'm not saying we should start academy players. I think Rooney has earned his start based on injuries and stuff like that. But in regards to like Dejan Brown, Abuka, Lennon Wilden, things like that, I think you've got to have that sort of conversation of having them on the bench, because if we go 3-0 up in the first half, is it going to be a huge problem to give them half an hour at the end of the game? For me, the answer is no, and you give that opportunity. But it is a difficult one. It is, because you don't want to put yourself in a bad position early doors where you're playing too much. Hang on, they're through on goal here. Danny Bath has been beaten for pace. Shoots, Zetterstrom makes a good save, and Fozzie clears. Blackett-Taylor back to Tomo, wins a free kick. But yeah, as I was saying about academy players, I think if you just have one on the bench, 1 or 2 on the bench, it puts you in that position where you can give them a chance should you start really well. And that's obviously something which we're going to have to wait and see, because we don't know if we will start well. We don't know if we might go down 3-0. It might be Stoke bringing on academy players. It's a difficult one to call, I think, and it's always difficult to make the wrong call. Feel bad for Charles Abuka. Looks a great talent, but with all the attacking firepower we've brought in, there's no way he's going to get much game time. We'll probably get loaned out this year. And do you know something? I think a loan is absolutely the right call for Charles Abuka. I spoke about it the other day. I did an entire video purely on Ibuka and what I think Derby County should do. I think he needs to be signing a pro contract and be given a loan spell. I think Dejan Brown as well, should everybody be fit, I think he'll go... Well, I'm not going to say everyone's going to be fit, but should everybody sort of be on their way back on schedule, I think that Dejan Brown will go out on loan at the end of the transfer window as well, if I'm honest. But obviously, everyone has their own opinions on that, and we don't sort of know how it's going to go or what the plans are. But yeah, it is an interesting one. He obviously played last night against Forest Green. Obviously, no one really saw it. Well, I don't know if anybody was there, so I don't really know how he performed. Do you think Eustace could do the same to Derby as he did with Blackburn, where he keeps them up, rebuilds their squad and leaves the club? I think with Blackburn, the problem with Eustace there was that you had the situation with their owners where they weren't willing to sort of back him, essentially. They were only willing to bring in loan players for the second half of the season, which he wasn't necessarily happy with. You obviously then look at the position that we've put ourselves in. Yes, we've brought in a couple of loan players, which obviously ain't a bad thing, but you obviously got that situation where I think we've shown that we've backed him early doors. So we're sort of going to have to wait and see on if he does the same with us and has us in the playoff positions. Of course, clubs are going to come calling. It's just about making sure that we make sure he feels backed and he feels loved and trusted. And I think he does at the moment. But obviously, anything can change in the blink of an eye. You look at the Birmingham City situation where he was in those playoff positions and gets sacked for Wayne Rooney, because you never know what's going to happen. You don't know what's around the corner. But obviously, we're going to have to wait and see sort of how it shakes up for obviously ourselves this season, as Atromitos are into the box, but it's blocked by Danny Bath. I think we've actually had a decent performance so far. 31 minutes in, Corey Blackett-Taylor's breaking down the left-hand side. With Eustace, have you noticed that when we go 1-0 up, we never seem to lose the game? So different compared to Warren with game management and IMO that kept us up last season. I think what it is with Eustace is, in the games where we go 1-0 up, we didn't sit. We didn't just like drop 10 yards. We didn't drop 20 yards or whatever. We actually sort of found ourselves in a position where we could we kept trying to score. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we didn't have some good defensive moments and we didn't sit a tiny bit deeper. But in comparison to what we was doing under Paul Warne, I think it's a completely different conversation. If I'm honest, I think many people will agree. I think the way we played in general was completely different, because at the end of the day, I think Eustace is a much better manager, and I think that all comes from know-how, and that's what Eustace has for me. It's championship know-how, and I said it a lot last season. I don't know how many of you watched my content during last season, but I think he should have gone in December, but obviously then we might not have got John Eustace, so we sort of had to wait and see on that one. But it's difficult. It is difficult. It is. But I think Eustace has done a really, really good job. And obviously that's the main thing, isn't it? That he finds a way to play, he finds a way for us to win, and I think he's done that really well, if I'm completely honest. We just got a bit of an injury break with one of their players down, and he doesn't seem to be happy. Got tackled by Ibu Adams. And if you are F1 fans, Lewis Hamilton is currently sitting in the drop in Q2. But are we going to get back underway? Corey Blackett-Taylor's stretching. If he's struggling, take him off. Harry Swift, just need a right wing now. CBT looks solid if fit. Completely agree. Blackett-Taylor's been great. Will Brewster be that right winger? Who knows? Will Brewster be the 10? It's obviously something which we're going to have to sort of look across as the season goes on and as games get played. But obviously it's having that versatility as well for me, where if you've got that versatility, it sort of puts you in a really, really good position to move forward, and you can make changes on the fly. You can go like with having someone like Kane Wilson starting, and maybe having like Jake Rooney on the pitch or something like that. With Jake Rooney, you can go to a back three, whereas with Wilson, you sort of can't, because it depends who you've got a left back. I think there's so much that isn't accounted for in regards to that situation of having that versatility, and I think if Derby County have it, I think we're in a great position to sort of move forward for me. But obviously, I know everyone has different views on players that can play multiple positions and things like that, but I think it's massively important having that extra strength in depth in extra positions is so important. Visitors are holding possession of the ball quite well as we're 34.5 minutes in. Just moving towards half time, the game's sort of fizzling out a little bit. Craig Forsyth winning the ball there. Carlton Morris, Ebel Adams now loses the ball. Wins a free kick though, which is important. I must ask, any injury updates with Matt Clark? Now, I've not heard anything. All I've seen is what Lee Curtis of The Telegraph has said in regards to Tuesday night, that it was just a knock. I will take another look at half time, see if there's anything that's sort of been said today. Obviously hope that he's back and available for the first game of the season, because it's been, 2 weeks since he came off today? No, a week. By the time we get going next week, it'll be 2 weeks. So if it's any longer than that, it's obviously a pretty, not major injury, but it's not a good one, is it? So, but we're going to have to sort of wait and see sort of how it shakes out with Clark. I think he's obviously a great centre-back, and obviously you don't want your best players injured. Haldmine is taking a free kick, by the way. It was a pretty poor ball, to be completely honest, and go straight out for a goal kick. 35 minutes in, and I think we've done all right, to be completely honest with you. I think we've done well. Obviously, those of you who may only just be joining, don't know the score, you'll see it in the top left. 1-0, Corey Blackett-Taylor won a penalty early doors in the game by beating his man with his first touch and then his second touch, and he put the penalty away. So, decent position. Ebel Adams giving away another free kick. Obviously, if you are watching the game, let me know your thoughts on that down below as well, because we are in that sort of position where we can be watching multiple things these days. So let me know your thoughts on that. Do you know, across the course of pre-season, defensively, I think we've been very good. I think obviously you've had a couple of moments with Danny Bath, but I think over the course of every game, I think we've been in a very, very good position. And I think that if this back four goes into next week and starts, I'm not upset, if I'm honest. I'm actually quite happy about that, to be completely honest with you. But obviously, got to wait and see sort of how it shakes out with thingy. Obviously, Nyambi might not be able to start. Rooney might end up starting at right back. We sort of don't really know how it's going to go right now. Obviously, Freddie Turley, another young lad who was spoke about a lot, was given a game last night against Forest Green, and he could potentially be involved next week because he's had a fairly decent pre-season. Do, 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 do. 37 minutes in, still 1-0. Danny Bath's on the ball at the back, giving it to Zetterstrom. I do think we're in a good place when it comes to the season. I think with how pre-season's gone as well, obviously the only loss is Burton. We don't count Forest Green because that was a B team. Blackett-Taylor's... No, it's not Blackett-Taylor, it's Ebel Adams bursting through on the left-hand side. Chops back, crosses, Carlton Morris heads. Caden Jackson wins it. Keeper throws it out of the pitch. But he's given a free kick. Given a free kick on Carlton. I think it's on Carlton Morris. I'm not sure if the free kick there was given on Carlton Morris or Caden Jackson. Or has he given a goal kick? He's put it down on the edge of his 6-yard box, so must be a goal kick. Great defensive work from Niambi. Wins his duel. Oh, what a great touch by Kenzo. Takes it away from his marker. Finds Blackett-Taylor on the left. Do you know, I know a lot of people don't like Tomo. I spoke about Tomo earlier as well. I think Tomo is decent, right? I just think we've never had the right players around him. I think if you put him in a midfield with Ozo, I think Tomo would shine. But I think in a midfield with Ibu and Kenzo, I don't necessarily think he does. I'm hoping Eustace utilises Kenzo better. I think he can offer more. I don't disagree. I think it's just about getting Kenzo on the ball. If you can get him on the ball, I think he can create so many opportunities. But obviously, getting him on the ball is that problem, because it depends on where he plays. Obviously, if it's higher up the pitch, you sort of got that situation of getting the ball up there. But the ref is getting out a yellow card for Caden Jackson, I think. Yeah, Caden Jackson loses the ball on the halfway line, then he just steps in, takes the man out, falls down with the man, free kick. Don't necessarily think it's a yellow card, but it's definitely a free kick. It is. And right now we're just looking at Caden Jackson on the screen. He has been given a yellow card. Not quite sure. I don't really agree with cards in friendlies, if I'm completely honest. I think it's a waste, to be quite honest. Don't necessarily think that anyone should get a card in a friendly. Unless it's obviously serious foul play, things like that. But obviously you never know, do you? You're sort of always in that position where it's a big sort of conversation talking point of, do the ref plays to the rules and things like that? But obviously never really know, do you? I just think it's a little bit much sometimes, if I'm completely honest. Jake Rooney once again reading the game excellently. And then we win a free kick on the halfway line. And I think Lewis Hamilton is out of Q2 in Hungary. He's not going to get around for another lap, I don't think. Yep, 12th. It looks like he's going to finish. Disappointing for those Ferrari fans in Hungary. Nope, it's down to 13th. Hey ho. Carlton Morris finds Blackett-Taylor on the left. He's got so much space. Can he beat his man? Beats his man down the line, cross into the box. There's nobody there. Finds Niambi on the edge. Caden Jackson, cross into the box. Oh, Ibu Williams went for the bicycle kick. Do you know, we're finding those attacking options. I don't necessarily think Ibu Williams needed to go for the bicycle kick there, to be quite honest. But it's one of those things, isn't it? Just got to try these things in pre-season. There's a man down on the halfway line. There is absolutely nothing going on right now. Just given an injured player the opportunity to get some treatment. And are we about to get underway? Nope, ref's holding the ball right now. And back underway we go. 44 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. Not long left to go now. They're playing it across their back line. Could be time for pretty much on half time now. Pretty much. Win the ball with Liam Thompson. Craig Forsyth. Kenzo's beat his man twice. Keeps the ball. He's done really well there, Kenzo. Oh, he's found Ibu. It's a really nice pass. Finds Jackson. Nobody on the edge. Nobody on the edge of the box. It's unlucky for Caden Jackson there. Do you have the monthly membership for Rams TV? I do for audio, not for video. But I've paid for the pre-season friendlies. I don't really mind. It's only a £5 in it, so I don't even know how much the monthly membership is, to be quite honest with you. And we have hit half time. It's 1-0 for Derby County. Corey Blackett-Taylor scoring after, what was it, about 15 minutes. Let's take a look. Now, how was your thoughts on that half? Honestly, what was you thinking? I actually think that was decent, to be quite honest. I think, I know we've spoke about Ibu, don't really want him in that position. You obviously look at then Kenzo, do you want him a little bit higher? Probably. You look then at Nyambi, I think he's done a decent half, if I'm quite honest. Carlton Morris has been very good. And who else? Corey Blackett-Taylor, another brilliant start for him. But, you know, it's interesting. It's a very, very interesting one. Are we going to see changes in the second half? I probably think that the same team will start that second half, if I'm completely honest. I think it will be pretty much the exact same. Maybe Nyambi comes off. But I don't know who would come on. If you move Nyambi, you're probably bringing Isaac Gordon. And who else might come off? I think that's about it, really. Some promising performances, definitely 100% agree with you. 100%. I think we've actually looked really good today. I think across the course of pre-season we've looked good as well. I actually think that Derby are in probably the best position they've been in a long time, in terms of obviously positions, the strength and depth that they've got. But it's one that we're going to have to learn from in terms of injuries for me. Because obviously you don't want to be buying players who have got to have surgeries and things like that. And obviously that's a disappointing situation with Ajimang and things like that. But we are in a fairly good place once everyone's fit. And I just think that the quicker we hit that first international break in a good position, the better. And obviously that's got to be the aim for Eustace, it's got to be the aim for the players, is getting to that first international break without any major sort of issues. Because that's when everyone comes back, pretty much. Literally everyone. Because you've got, what's it called? We have apparently had it confirmed by BBC Radio Derby that Trinitas and Johnston interest is real, and Derby County do have money to spend, and Trinitas is not in the matchday squad for Sunderland today, so keep your eyes out for that one. Just seeing that over on Twitter right now, just scrolling through to see if any news is broke, sort of why I've been streaming, but it just seems as if that is it. If we look, is there anything else going on? Anything else? What can we see? Absolutely nothing right now. You can see the benefit of having a player manager like Eustace. He's linked new players in quite seamlessly. Completely agree. I think he's a very, very good manager at bringing those players in and having those conversations, because as much as you sort of look at some of the talent that's been bought in, and maybe they are a bit aging, I still think it's a very, very good position to be in for Derby. Burton was a pretty dull performance, but other than that, I think we've looked decent. Completely agree. I spoke about the Burton game a couple of, obviously, like a week or so ago. It was disappointing. Didn't really show our true colours. I got a bit of stick for saying that can Derby bounce back, but I think that's really a conversation to be had. Controlling the game without a proper first team out, so good. Completely agree. Now, I want to take a look at this team that we're playing around. Hang on, let's have a look at the scores on the doors in League One. Cardiff beat Peterborough 2-1. Blackpool and Stevenage is 1-1. Bradford 2-0 up against Wickham. Burton are beating Mansfield. Doncaster are drawing 0-0 with Exeter. Huddersfield are beating Leyton Orient 1-0. Lincoln are beating Reading 1-0. Barnsley are beating Plymouth 2-0. Rotherham winning 2-0 against Port Vale. Port Vale have had a man sent off, and Wigan are 2-0 up. Who are the scorers for Rotherham? Nombe, that's got to be his name. He's scored. Let's have a look. Barnsley 2-0 up. Is McGoldrick playing? Yes, he is. That's obviously the big one for Derby. Eustace has definitely done a fine job so far. Never expected him to be so after that first month in charge. The first month was a very difficult month. Like, I think everybody can agree. But I think Eustace is a brilliant manager. Always kept the faith. I'm not surprised that he turned it around. I just didn't know if we'd be able to turn it around enough. If we look at League 2 scores on the doors, 0-0 Accrington Gillingham, 1-0 Fleetwood against Barnet, 0-0 Bristol Rovers Harrogate, 0-0 Cheltenham Cambridge, 1-0 Chesterfield Barrow, 1-0 Tranmere Colchester, 2-0 Grimsby against Crawley, MK Dons 0, Oldham 0, Crewe 3, Salford 1, Shrewsbury 0, Bromley 0, Walsall 1, Swindon 0, and Walsall have had a man sent off after 22 minutes. So, those scores are looking pretty decent. Now let's find our game, because I want to take a look at Atromitos, if that's how you say their name, and see sort of, are they on there? They're not on here. Let me have a look at SofaScore, because I don't even know where this sort of team is supposed to sort of be. I don't know how good they're supposed to be, so I don't know if this is actually sort of like a good performance from Derby. So let's take a look. They are in the top division, and last season they finished 7th. 10 wins, 5 draws, 11 losses, 32 scored, 32 conceded. They were 10 points away from 4th, and 25 points away from top of the division. But I think we're in a decent place. I do think we're in a decent place. But let's see how it shakes up. Obviously, anything can change at any moment. You don't know what's going to happen in the second half, and obviously we don't like to talk about injuries, but we all know they can happen. Now, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's sort of keep an eye on this second half. I think we're about to get into it. We're not far away from getting into it anyway. But a very good half from Derby for me. Some interesting scores across the patch. Crewe smashing Salford 3-1. Yeah, that's surprising, especially considering Salford have put some good money in this summer. Plymouth 2-0. 2-0 down to Barnsley. Not a good indicator from a freshly demoted team. I'm not surprised by Plymouth, to be completely honest. It's a very crazy situation at Plymouth with everything that went off at the back end of last season. Thank you very, very much for that £2 donation, £2 super chat from Derby C. Really appreciate that. Really helps the channel. How to watch. I am watching the game through Rams TV. I think it costs £5 to watch the game. So if you want to go over there and watch it, go over to Rams TV, £5, and you'll obviously get to hear the commentary from Owen Bradley and Sean Barker. I believe it is also being on radio from Ed Dawes and Dom Dietrich, which is a very... I quite like Ed Dawes and Dom Dietrich, if I'm completely honest with you. I think they're very good at what they do. Although sometimes, obviously, a little bit late to the party in terms of news. But I think they're good people, and they do a really good job doing what they're doing. And I think you can't fault Ed Dawes for the job he does, and obviously everything that he did during administration and things like that. He was very, very good then. And as much as he said things people didn't like to hear, myself included, very, very good. But yeah, do you lot think we're going to make any changes at half time? Because I probably think we will do. I think Nyambi might come off, but who knows? But I don't know who would come off. There is someone running the pitch. I can't see who it is. Couldn't see the number. But I imagine Nyambi will come off and Thingy will come on, Isaac Gordon, if I'm completely honest. Let's take a look. Is anything being said over on Twitter about what's going off right now? There is nothing in regards to anyone coming off. But fair play. What's happening with Nectarios Trinitas? Now, BBC Radio Derby reported why I've been streaming that Derby County are interested in Trinitas and Max Johnston. Trinitas isn't involved in the matchday squad for Sunderland today, from what I'm aware. I'll go and check that just to make sure. It's just what I've read. I could be wrong. We will go and check Sunderland's socials, but I don't believe he's been involved today, which obviously opens the door for Derby County potentially putting an offer in, which may be accepted. We obviously don't know. If we look at their team, nope, he's not involved in their team. So there could be sort of a move going on. Could be something going off behind the scenes. Obviously, Derby County want sort of extra bodies in both want extra bodies in the midfield, especially with Ben Osborne's injury situation. You look at who else has got injuries in that. There's so many people with injuries in that sort of midfield area that have picked up injuries across the course of the last year or so. But who knows? I believe the bid that was rejected was around £1.2 million, which I think is a good offer from Derby. But I'm not sure whether we'll put in a bigger bid or anything like that. I've not heard anything in fact, let's say. It's just what's been reported, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But again, anything could happen. Derby County could get offered Lionel Messi in a week, and you're not going to turn it down. So obviously we're not going to get offered Messi, but you know what I mean. It'll be a good signing. Seeing his highlights, looks promising. Yeah, I think he was at Hibernian last season. Did really well for them. So would be good to see him. See if he can make that move across to England. Obviously, I don't think he really got a proper opportunity with Sunderland. Obviously, had that loan spell, but obviously they've had some unbelievable players over the course of the last few years, which is obviously, it's big. It is big for Sunderland. Obviously, look at the money they've brought in as well. They don't necessarily need Trinitas anymore. They just need to. They might need to move some players on so that they can have a better squad all round next year. I'd like him to come, but obviously it's one of those where it could go either way right now. It really could. I think we're about to get into the second half. Not far away from it anyway. Let's go and see if Derby have put anything up in regards to substitutions. But it will be an interesting one if we do make any subs, because I think that probably would then write out Nyambi from starting next week, if I'm honest. Are we playing good? I think we've been very good. To be completely honest, I think Corey Blackett-Taylor's been incredible, as he's been all pre-season. I think Rooney's been very good. I think Bath's been very good. I think if you look at even Ebo Adams and players like that, I think it's been a very good performance for Derby in regards of what you can expect from a pre-season fixture. I know it's the final pre-season fixture, but it's definitely I'd probably say this is one of our better performances. Disappointed with Osborne in his Derby career. I don't think you're the only one, if I'm completely honest. I was anticipating him to be so much better and actually play a lot more, and unfortunately, he just hasn't been fit, hasn't been able to go, and obviously that's sort of where you have some big problems, especially at this level, because you've got so many sort of senior options, and you've got players in the youth academy that are dying for their chance to step up. There is a number 26 for Derby County sitting just on the touchline. Let's see who that is coming on and get ready for the second half. But yeah, completely agree with you. Very disappointed with Osborne so far in his Derby career. Hopefully can find some fitness and can have an impact this season, but obviously right now we don't know. It is Isaac Gordon coming on for Ryan Niambi, as I expected would happen. Does that write out Niambi for next week? I think it might do. In regards to fitness levels, is he fit enough to play to start? I don't know. Shame as a Derby lad and fan. Yeah. Do you know, that was the thing that gave me a bit of hope with Osborne, the fact that he is a Derby fan. But it's just one of those things, isn't it? Sometimes things just don't work out, sometimes they do, and you just never really know, and it's always a bit of a risk. How old is Ben Osborne? Is he 30 yet? 28, 29, 30? He's still got a few years left, but obviously you've got to sort out those injuries. He's got stuff going off behind the scenes as well in regards to businesses, and he's got his coaching education program that he runs as well. But we will wait and see. Now, for those of you who might be new in and stuff like that, the team is as follows: Zetterstrom in goal, back four of Gordon on the right, who's just replaced Niambi, with Rooney at centre half, with Danny Bath and Forsyth on the left, a midfield three of Kenzo, Thompson and Adams, and a front three of Jackson, Morris and Corey Blackett-Taylor. How many more signings would you say we need to make, and what positions? Personally, if I'm completely honest, I think we probably need another midfielder. I think right back is a position that we need to look at, because I think we've got 2 out of contracts at the end of this season, and we don't know if Wilson will renew. Niambi's obviously injury prone. Joe Ward hasn't really been fit, so we don't really know how that's going to shake up. So I think right back, I think central midfield, and then I think we need another winger as well. But then it all sort of falls and depends on where we end up playing Brewster, to be quite honest. Because if he plays as a number 10, we're in a much better position. Now, I know this is about Derby, but Charles Leclerc is on provisional pole right now, and both Norris and Piastri are down on Leclerc, which is incredible. Incredible scenes. But we're into the second half now. Corey Blackett-Taylor has just been booted in the legs, and we have a free kick in our own half. As it stands, Charles Leclerc has pole position in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton out in Q2. Let's see if Verstappen can match him. There's not a great deal happening in the game, by the way. Got it with Rooney on the halfway line. Out to Gordon. Puts it down the line. It's going to be a Charles Leclerc pole position. We're doing alright in this game. We are doing alright. I'm not quite sure what other changes we're going to make in this game. I bet we'll see Dejan Brown get on the pitch. Hopefully, Harry Hawkins gets another opportunity as well. Two minutes into this second half then. Let's get the screen back on with the time. There you go. Oh, Adams finds Blackett-Taylor. And Adams has just been absolutely battered in the middle of the pitch. I think we've got a corner there. Kenzo is going to take the corner for Derby. So what happens with it? Oh, Ibu makes the pass and then gets absolutely clattered from behind. It's not what you want to see, is it really? It's pre-season. Two yellow cards in the game now. Kenzo puts the ball in. Oh my god, he scored from a corner. Kenzo held mine. What a player. What a player, by the way. Kenzo. Go on, my boy. I told you, he's going to have an impact this season. He's going to be incredible. Go on, Kenzo. I thought that was going out. Straight over the keeper. Jackson was there but doesn't need to touch it. What a goal. What a goal. I have no words. That's probably the best corner he's taken in his life. Genuinely in his life. Crazy. I said it last season. He's unbelievable on set pieces. Unbelievable. $50 minutes gone. 2-0 Derby County. Can we get any more? Can we get any more? Crazy. As a Greek, Atromitos is a very mid team. The only thing they've accomplished is to stay in the first league. Well, staying in the first league is better than not being in the first league. But I do get your point, yeah. But we'll have to see how it shakes out for both teams as their seasons get underway and things like that. You never sort of know where anybody's going to end up. Guys, do you think Doncaster will win Exeter? It's 0-0, isn't it? Donny Exeter. Give me a second. Let me just check. Let me go and have a look. Doncaster Exeter 0-0 at half time. Second half has just got underway. Looks as if they're on top in the game. 67% possession to 33. 0.45 XG. 7 shots. I'd like to say Doncaster will be able to win that game. Got a very good goalkeeper, haven't they? So we just have to see if they can score, let's say. What position is Kenzo playing? Has he been given the licence to go forward and play as a 10? He's currently playing in the double pivot with Liam Thompson. And Kenzo's been, in my opinion, very good at picking up the ball and creating opportunities. Really good on dead balls today. But no, he's playing deeper. He's not playing as the 10. But he's sort of got licence to get on the ball and make things happen. And I think he's done a good job at that. Kenzo on dead balls. Not seen him score from free kicks. When did we do last time? And who was better? Well, I think it's difficult for me to talk about Strupar and Ndiaka's because of how young. Well, I think I was like 3. I don't even know if I was 3 when Ndiaka's was playing. But the only one I can give a real indication on is Wilson. I think he was unbelievable on set pieces. But when was the last time we did score from a set piece? Probably McGoldrick. McGoldrick or Bird, probably. Thanks, man, for your time to respond to my messages. I appreciate it. Absolutely no worries. That's what I'm here for. I want this interaction. Like, I love being able to talk about football. Football is like a lifesaver for me. I think many people have sort of the same sort of indication when it comes to sports and things like that. And for me, football, basketball, F1, those sort of things, hugely important in my life. And that's why this channel is a thing, if I'm completely honest. But I appreciate you stopping by and actually joining in with the chat, because many people lurk, which is okay. We love the lurkers. And this is the first proper sort of watch-along video that I've done. And really enjoying it, really enjoying the interaction. But we'll have to see sort of how the season goes for every team, to be honest. It's going to be an interesting one. It is. Because as we saw last season with those Red Dogs down the road, don't really want to talk about them, but did a very good job in the Premier League. Crystal Palace as well, winning their first major trophy. Like, you can't... Like, you never know what's going to happen. You never know how the season's going to unfold. And that is one of the reasons why I love football. It might be that you might play the same 11 3 games in a row, but get 3 very different performances. And for someone like myself, who very much notices like patterns and trends and things like that, football is one of the most intriguing sports, because even with the same teams, they play completely different, and from one game to the next they play different. But they're going through down the left hand side, cross into the box, but it's blocked by Jake Rooney. I could talk about Jake Rooney all day. Could genuinely talk about him all day. Such a good player. Such a good player. Let's take a look at the scores on the doors. Wigan are 3-0 up against Northampton. The fact that MK Dons aren't winning, I think, is an absolute travesty. They've had 4 shots. What a strike. Right, it's gone wide. The fact MK Dons aren't winning is embarrassing, by the way. If if Paul Warne draws, I will be laughing. Because that is an unbelievable squad that they've got. 55 minutes in, 2-0. Excited to watch your away watch-alongs. Like you, I have a season ticket, but don't go to many away games. Yeah, I think when it comes to away, it's difficult really, because you can spend like 200 quid before you've left the house in terms of like tickets and travel, which like is it really sort of like worth it genuinely? Like, don't get me wrong, I love football, right? But when I can still watch the game, and to be fair, I don't know how many will agree, but I always feel like you get better angles watching the game than actually being at the game. You get more of an understanding of what's going on, and I just think, do I really want to be spending like across the course of a year, 23 away games, potentially cup games, potentially £150 if not more? Like, to me, I don't necessarily sort of think it's worth it to pay that sort of money for away games, if I'm honest. But it's one of those, isn't it? Everybody has things they want to do and things like that. But Caden Jackson's thrown goal. Colton Morris on the edge. Oh, it's blocked on the line. Who put the ball in? I think it was Kenzo who put the ball in for Caden Jackson. And then it falls to Morris. Yeah, it's a really good ball from Kenzo. Morris flicks it on. Jackson doesn't take it on first time, cuts it back. Just knocked away. Knocked away on the line. Do you know something? We're doing very well. We are. We are doing very well. I don't think many people can complain about this performance. I know some people probably will. You know what people are like. But Burton are 2-0 up. Who's taking... Kenzo's taking this one. We've got 4 players on the edge. All attacking now. Curls in. That's a poor one by that Kenzo. Blackett-Taylor. Isaac Gordon. Back up the pitch. Carter Morris flicks on. Jackson flicks on. And Ebo Adams wins the ball. Of course he does. We're doing all right, you know. Many people probably didn't expect us to be as good as we've played, in my opinion, through pre-season. Pardon me. Because of the injuries. But I think we've done really well. I do, honestly. I think we've done really well today as well. I think it's been a very good performance. I do. But obviously, time can change. Oh, Blackett-Taylor nearly got through there. Playing out from the back by the Greeks. Kenzo's driving. Oh, Blackett-Taylor just can't keep it. I'm sorry, but Rooney is unbelievable. Stepped in excellently there to win the ball on his chest. Plays it out to Forsyth. Kenzo, Tomo. I think that's Caden. No, it's Ebo Adams. I'll be honest with you. The only issue I have with Rams TV is the camera. Like, sometimes you can't see the players that are in the shadows. I don't know if there's anything they can do about it, to be quite honest with you. But it's just one of those things. Bit of a pet peeve, I guess. Do you want to know what is good? Isaac Gordon. He's played 15 minutes in this second half. Not really. Had to say a great deal about him, which I think is good. I think that's always important for defenders. It's making sure that if you don't have to talk about them, they can't be playing badly, in my opinion. Oh, Blackett-Taylor's done really well there. 1-2 with Carlton Morris. Shoots from the edge of the box. Goes wide. Goal kick. I didn't know if that took a deflection or not. That's what I was waiting for. It's a nice flick through the legs of the defender. 1-2 with Morris. Beats his man, shoots. Do you know something? He's got every right to be taking those opportunities on, because he's been so good in pre-season. And when you talk about players with, like, confidence players, he's definitely one of them. Plymouth have pulled one back against Barnsley. What's going on in League 2? Don't think anything's changed, if I'm completely honest. Doo-doo, doo-doo. Oh. No, so that's again a nice bit of play by Rooney and Jackson. Isaac Gordon's now breaking into the box. What is going on here? Isaac Gordon has got a mind of his own as he tries to break into the box. And we've won ourselves a throw-in. According to Wayne Bradley, we're going to make some changes in a minute. I wonder who will come on. Got to make sure everyone stays fit for that first game of the season, haven't you? Especially the key players. Like, I think Adams played 90 the other day. Tomo and Kenzo have played some good minutes. Jackson's played some good minutes. I'd definitely get Dejan Brown on. Give him a go. Who else is on the bench? Let's go and have a look who's on the bench. Who is on the bench for Derby County? Just got here what subs have been made. So the only sub so far is Isaac Gordon has come on for Ryan Nyambi at right back. I'm assuming it's a fitness thing. Obviously, Nyambi only played half an hour on Tuesday, 45 minutes today. So he might be for 60 against Stoke, but we'll have to wait and see. Who's left on the bench? There's Banks, Asande, Hawkins, Richards, Toller, Wilden, Green and Brown. Obviously, O'Donnell and O'Neill, the goalkeepers. But go on, Kenzo. No foul? Fair enough. Let's see. I'd probably make a couple of changes at about 70. If I'm honest, 65, 70 would be my call. I'd probably go Hawkins. I'd probably just get all the young lads on, to be quite honest. I think the first teamers have shown enough. Rooney doing a brilliant job again. Winning the ball from the throw-in and clearing it away to the opposition half. That's a really nice ball. Great defending from Danny Bath. Isaac Gordon. It's not a bad clearance. Is Ibu Williams creating much going forward? In your opinion, would you switch Kenzo and Ibu? Now, I don't necessarily think Ibu creates a lot, if I'm honest, but I think defensively, Ibu is sort of has that sort of pressing mentality and that sort of work rate to sort of be a workhorse up next to Carlton Morris. Whereas I don't necessarily think Kenzo has that. I would switch them, but I think you then might lose that sort of initial press, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Kind of annoying that you can't get the audio version of Rams TV. Still get charged monthly even though there's no games, no audio on the ones we do have. Is that just because it's pre-season, or is that like normal? Because last season I was alright with the audio stuff, but if I don't get it this season, I will be cancelling. Let's put it that way. Because I'm not paying for something I'm not getting. They're making another change. Number 9's coming on. I have no idea who that is. Van Vert. Tom Van Vert. What a name. 25 minutes to go. And we're winning 2-0. Corey Blackett-Taylor and Kenzo with the goals. Blackett-Taylor scored from a penalty, and Kenzo scored from a corner. Must admit, Sky are doing well with how many more championship games we are getting. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure most of the games are on for opening weekend, aren't they? Even if they're on Plus. But the fact that you can get them is incredible for me. Because obviously, if you go back a few years, if you weren't at the game, you couldn't see it. It was just highlight packages, especially midweeks as well. It's great now. I wish that was more of a thing when I was younger, but can't complain, can you? You can't complain. Just obviously, as long as you can watch the game these days, it's good, isn't it? So. It's a corner. And not a great one, to be quite honest with you. Not a great corner. Fozzie's breaking away. Finds Morris in the middle. Oh, go on, Tomo. Carlton Morris has touched that down really well. Blackett-Taylor keeps it in play. Oh, loses the ball. It's a bit unlucky. Really good play from Morris and Blackett-Taylor. Thompson's looked good as well today, by the way. What are we looking at with scores on the doors elsewhere? Nothing seems to have changed. Yeah, I thought it would be because it's pre-season that you can't get the radio stuff. I reckon Morris will be more of a super sub now we have Brewster and Adjumang. To be honest with you, I think I said it earlier in regards to Rooney. I think the problem like a Brewster and an Adjumang is going to have is that they've missed, like Brewster's missed pre-season, Adjumang's missed pre-season, and they've then got to find a way back into the team rather than already being in the team, if that makes sense. So if Morris performs well, Rooney performs well, players like that, then those players that are on the sidelines might not get the opportunities. Now, Carlton Morris is coming off for Dejan Brown after 68 minutes. That will just be a straight swap. Dejan Brown going as the main number 9. And we'll see how Dejan Brown gets on, because he's a fairly decent player. And I think we can all agree on that. I think he is probably one of our best academy products in terms of that striker position, especially in recent years. We've not had many in the striker position recently, but he's definitely got some quality there. And hopefully we'll be able to see it. Isaac Gordon wins the ball, cuts it back to Caden Jackson. Jackson shoots wide of the post. My Dej. Everyone loves Dej. There's so much promise with Dejan Brown. And I felt like last season, even though we had very difficult position in that striker area, I don't think he got the opportunities he deserved. And for me, I'd have preferred I'd have preferred Dej to go on loan last season, but I guess it's one of those things, isn't it? It's just one of those things. I wonder if we'll make any more change. I bet we won't make any more changes, to be quite honest with you. I bet it'll just run everybody else for 90, if I'm completely honest. If we had like Brewster on the bench or something, I think we'd make a change, but I don't know if he will make one. You've got to make sure these players are fit and ready. I'd probably... You've got to have conversations about Forsyth and things like that. They've done a lot of minutes recently. Corey Blackett-Taylor's beaten like 3 men. Played the ball out wide to Caden Jackson, who's one-on-one with his man. Beats his man with pace. Cross into the box. It's blocked. $70 minutes, 2-0. This second half is really sort of petered away, if I'm completely honest. Not a great deal going on. Obviously had a couple of opportunities. I think Kenzo scored as well, didn't he? But nothing major. All we need to do is get a new defender. I know it's pre-season, but if we let a lot of goals in, we always score more. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think right back's a position where we need someone. And I think that will be Max Johnston from Stromgratz, or however you say it. And obviously you've got Trinitis from Sunderland, who we're apparently interested in and apparently put a bid in for. Who obviously adds to that sort of defensive element, can play centre-back, can play holding midfield, can play as a number 8 as well. So I think just need options. And the thing is, a lot of people are looking at the players we've got available rather than the players who will be available, which I think we need to keep an eye on as well, because we've got so many players who could be big talents for Derby over the course of this season that aren't going to be available until mid-September. So we've got to keep an eye on that for me. Because obviously you bring Langas in, he starts right centre-half. If he was fit, he'd be starting. You've got Clark and stuff who isn't involved. So it is a very interesting position to find ourselves in. It is. How are we looking? Scores on the doors. Let's take a look at FootMob. Let's see what's going on. 3-1 Stevenage, 2-0 Bradford, 2-0 Burton Mansfield, 0-0 Donny Exeter, 2-0 Huddersfield Leighton Orient, 2-0 Lincoln Reading, 2-1 Barnsley Plymouth, but they've had a man sent off. Shepherd has been sent off for a second yellow card and handball. Rotherham 2-1 against Port Vale. Wigan 3-0 against Northampton. Into League 2 then, 1-0 Accrington Gillingham, 2-0 Fleetwood Barnet, 0-0 Harrogate Bristol, 1-0 Cambridge Cheltenham, 1-0 Chesterfield against Barrow, 1-0 Tranmere against Colchester, 3-0 Grimsby versus Crawley, 0-0 MK versus Oldham, Crewe 3, Salford 1, 0-0 Bromley Shrewsbury, 1-0 Walsall Swindon, 0-0 Notts County Newport. They're only 25 minutes in though. What did happen to Clark? I was at Burton when he got the injury, but do we know what injury? I'm assuming it's muscle, if I'm completely honest. But we've not actually been given anything. We've been told that it's minor by Lee Curtis, but we've not actually been given anything in terms of what the actual injury is, how long he might be out for. I'm going to assume muscle, which you're probably looking at 4 weeks at minimum. But if it's more than a muscle injury, then it could be anything, genuinely. And it's one of them for me where there's no point risking him during pre-season, but you also want to make sure he can get the minutes, and he obviously hasn't played since Burton. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we might get some information today, to be honest. I'm not sure if Radio Derby will do a John Eustace interview post-game. I'm not sure if John Eustace is doing pre-season interviews, to be fair. I think he's done one with Owen Bradley, which is definitely not a Paul Warne type interview, is John Eustace. Let's put it that way. There's 39 of you in here. If you haven't done so already, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and let me know what you're thinking of the game. 75 minutes in, 2-0. Had a feeling Fozzie was going to retire before the start of the season. Glad he hasn't, just for the sheer loyalty he has for the club. He's going to have one hell of a send-off when he eventually retires. Do you know, honestly, I hope that when Fozzie does eventually retire, I hope that we do another testimonial game, because I don't think people really understand how important he's been for this football club. And we've signed 6, 7 left backs permanently. You've brought in loan players at left back, you've brought in academy graduates, and none of them have been able to take the mantle and stay, which for me is incredible. And what is he on? Year 12, I think, at Derby now. I think if you include his first loan spell, you're on 12 and a half years. So it's a very, very good position for Thingy to find himself, for Fozzie to find himself in, and hopefully he gets that opportunity. You're going to post anything about F1 qualifying today? Not today, but I think I might do a full weekend review tomorrow after the race to post on Monday. Because I'll be honest with you, I've not really kept fully up to date with everything that's going off. Obviously, with doing this live stream and stuff, I'll sort of skipping bits of qualifying and stuff like that. But I'll go through it after, and then probably do a full race weekend review. So those of you who are F1 fans, head on over to the F1 channel, hit subscribe, and let me know that you've subscribed on my latest video. I've not been too active on there recently. I think the last video was about Christian Horner, but I'm going to get back into it over the course of the next week or so. Sort of had a lot going on, but we make it work. 77 minutes in, and there's a man down. Man down. Do you know, Gordon reminds me a little bit in terms of that attacking situation of Jayden Bogle. I know Bogle was Bogle younger than Gordon when he broke in? I'm not sure, but it's all about getting those opportunities when you've got injuries and things like that. And I think Gordon has certainly taken it during pre-season. I think he deserves. He'll probably be on the bench next week, maybe. But we'll have to wait and see. $12 minutes. 12 minutes left to go. Oh, Louis Watson's playing for Crawley. I didn't even know he was there. If we're going to make any more changes, Eustace should do it right now. Just genuinely, if I was Eustace, I'd chuck in every single academy player on the bench. Just give them 10 minutes. What more are you going to learn from 10 more minutes in the legs? Donny bot, Donny bot. Bada, bada, bada. I'd like Dage to get on the ball a bit more. Sort of just running side to side in that forward line. Not really had a lot to do so far. Jake Rooney again, another excellent interception. Isaac Gordon's caught a bit narrow, but Rooney covers him again. Let me know if you're in the comments. Let me know. Would you start Rooney next week against Stoke? Could be right back, could be centre back, but would you start him? Because I genuinely believe that he definitely should start. I don't think there's like a question in my mind about it. I certainly think he starts. Like, how can you not start him after he's had such a good pre-season? Obviously, I know probably depends on injuries. Because if Clark's fit, he probably doesn't play centre-back. Can Nyambi start next week? Not sure. So you're sort of in that position. It's a difficult call, but for me, I think he has to start. I don't know. I don't know how he can't start, if I'm honest. Nine minutes to go. 9 minutes plus stoppage. That's a great ball by Rooney. Finds Caden Jackson. He's got to square it. Oh, Dage misses the target. You talk about taking chances. Charles Abuka is taking his. Dejon Brown's had one and put it over the bar. Yes, obviously Abuka sort of had those opportunities at Burton that he missed as well. That's a really good ball though by Jake Rooney. It's a great run by Caden Jackson as well. It's a great, but it's like it bounces. It's like he's not expecting it in the area where it comes. How are MK Dons not winning? They've had 6 shots. They've had 6 shots. Pretty much all of their shots have come from set pieces as well. Jake Rooney again, clearing the danger. That's a great cross, by the way. Jake Rooney, by the way. Jake Rooney's done brilliantly there. Shitty Paul Warne at it again. Absolutely. Is an absolute shithouse. They've had 6 shots, 0.25 XG, 63% possession. I'm sorry, but you've got Mendes Lang, Aaron Collins, Russian Hepburn Murphy. They've brought Callum Patterson off the bench. Like, they've got a very, very good side. And I've got no words. Absolutely no words about Paul Warne. Great man. Jake Rooney's made another block. Everyone loves a bit of Jake Rooney. Rotherham had a man sent off. Jules. Who the fuck is Jules? Zach Jules. Joined him from Exeter. It's a great strike. It's a corner as well. Not for us, for Atromitos, or however you say it. Jake Rooney next, Aaron Cashin. Do you know something? Jake Rooney is one of those players who, I think, as a fan base, everybody appreciates how good he is, but nobody sort of understands the level he can play at because of the injuries he's had. It's like Cashin, really. Cashin was nearly released as we were heading into pre-season of that administration year. And so was Festi Ebeselli. Look at Cashin now. We sold him for 10 million to Brighton. I think Festi's playing in Turkey. But, like, I definitely think Jake Rooney can have a breakout year. I do. And I hope he does as well. One of the players bought in by Liam Rosenior, who realistically was unable to get a sort of proper shot under Paul Warne because of injuries and things like that. I don't even think he's a centre-back. I think he's a holding midfielder. But he can play that centre-back position and he's done it well. He can play at right-back as well. You can't complain about players like that for me. You cannot complain. Players who can move around the pitch. I've said it on this live stream like before. For me, versatility is so important at this level. Having quality players that can be quality players in 4 or 5 different positions, right, left, up front, as a 10, playing as an 8, like, and you look at players like Jake Rooney, can play centre back, can play right back, can play holding midfield, could probably play as that sort of dictating. He could probably play in that role that Kenzo's playing right now, to be honest with you. But we might not see him in central midfield. But we'll have to wait and see. I reckon we go for Lewis Travis. He's very good on and off the ball when Ozo isn't permanent. Doesn't Travis's contract expire at the end of this season? Let me just take a look at Lewis Travis. I know we have had interest in him. We've not made a bit. Contract expires in this time next season. So I think if John Eustace wants it, he can get in his ear. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but it's obviously something that could happen. Because why wouldn't you? He is a very good player. He is. And I think he's better defensively than someone like Kenzo, but he's not as good as Ibu. But he's got the technical edge that Ibu hasn't. And obviously with Ozo moving on, we're going to have to replace that next summer. So 3-ish minutes to go. They're currently in our half. Pretty much in line with our box with a throw-in. And cleared by Kenzo. I reckon we go for... Oh, I've already read that one. Yeah, already answered. Offside flag. But yeah, I think with Travis, I think it'll be a next summer deal, to be honest. Because I don't think Blackburn are going to let him go for a price that we will pay. And obviously if we're not going to pay the price, Could someone else jump in before us? Could he get a better opportunity than us? Who knows? Who knows where we'll find ourselves in 12 months' time? Because people have said it in this live stream. People said it yesterday. We could be challenging playoffs. And I know, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but we could be. We've signed some really good players. If we can get a tune out of Rhian Brewster, if we can get a... Oh, hang on. Danny Barr has missed the ball. Zetterstrom, that's really good goalkeeping by Zetterstrom. Really good. They got through on goal. Danny Bath was outpaced. Zetterstrom did really well. Jake Rooney, the next Wayne Rooney. Not quite sure he's the next Wayne Rooney, but if he can be the next, I don't know, Curtis Davis, he'll be a good player for us, for me. I must admit, I didn't think it would be this much limbs over pre-season. Do you know, I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself, but I think we've done really well, and I think we're in a really good position heading into next week. Now, it could all come crashing down in a week's time, and we could be sat here in a week's time with a 2-0 defeat or something. But I think we've got the building blocks, and I think that's the important thing. Building blocks for me is the important thing. It's making sure we've got those players in the right positions, and I think we're getting there. I do. Dejan Brown's done well there. Got Caden Jackson involved. Ooh. We're on bang on 90 minutes. 2 minutes stoppage time. Really close to the end of the game now. Let's take a look at the scores on the doors around the grounds. How are we getting on? Blackpool are 3-2 against Stevenage, losing. Bradford are winning 2-1 at Wickham. Burton are winning 2-1 at home to Mansfield. Doncaster 0-0. Huddersfield are beating Leyton Orient 2-0. Lincoln are winning 2-0 against Reading. Plymouth are losing 2-1 against Barnsley. Rotherham are winning 2-1 against Port Vale. Wigan are winning 3-1 against Northampton. Rotherham and Port Vale have a man sent off. 1-1 Aki Gillingham. 2-0 Fleetwood Barnet. 1-0 Harrogate Bristol. 1-0 Cambridge Cheltenham. 1-0 Chesterfield Barrow, Chesterfield winning. 1-1 Tranmere Colchester. 3-0 Grimsby against Crawley. 0-0 MK Oldham. 3-1 Crewe Salford, Crewe winning. Bromley 0-0. Walsall 1-1 with Swindon, Walsall with that man sent off. And Notts County and Newport are 0-0 after 42 minutes. Decent place. We're doing all right at Derby, aren't we? We are doing okay. Good evening, my friend. I am from Greece. I live next to the Atromitos Stadium. Is it a nice stadium? Is it a good stadium? I think we're just about to beat them as well. So if you are an Atromitos fan, I don't know how you say it. If you want to tell me in the comments, you are welcome to. But I think we're about to beat them 2-0. We're in the 92nd minute of 2 minutes at a time. And that is full time. Whew. Well, I think that's our first pre-season clean sheet. I think that's our best performance of pre-season. Obviously, you've got Solihull to talk about as well, which was obviously an interesting one. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm very happy. I am very happy with that performance. William Owens, seems like this might be our best performance. I can't watch because I don't have Rams TV, but it seems like our best performance. 100%. It was definitely our best performance. I'm a friend of Olympic Pioras and as a second team for the sake of neighbourhood. Fair enough, makes sense. But definitely a really good performance from Derby today. I don't think you can really sort of take away from that performance. I think if you look at the players that played as well, they're probably the players that are going to be playing in a week's time, which is obviously interesting. Obviously, probably have David Ozo jumping in, vibing and stuff will be on the bench. But very, very good performance from Derby County. I think if we're going to give a man of the match, it's going to have to be Corey Blackett-Taylor. I think very good performance from him. I think obviously if you look at the players coming off the bench, Dejan Brown and things like that. I watched the friendly match of Olympiacos and the Fearless. I really like Liverpool in the England national team. Appreciate it, mate. Appreciate it. Match analysis vid later. Why not just stay and let's do it now? But I'll be honest, a very, very good performance from Derby. I think Niambi's probably touch and go to start next week. I think Rooney starts, if I'm completely honest. I think that team we've seen today is probably the team that starts next week. I think the only change that probably could be made is probably Ozo coming in, but I'm not entirely sure who he replaces, to be quite honest. I think it could be Liam Thompson and then go Ibu, Kenzo and Ozo. Front three I don't think is going to change, but obviously there is a chance Brewster may step in. But I do think we're in a good position. Dejan Brown getting some minutes off the bench as well. Obviously Isaac Gordon getting minutes as well. It will be interesting to see how we do shape up in a week's time. If you do have any questions about the performance, I'm going to be on here for probably another 10-ish minutes. So let me know your thoughts. We'll go through them and we'll go from there. We'll see what the scores on the doors are elsewhere as well. Plymouth now 3-1 down. Derby County is a very great team. I know its history. I'm 50 years old. I watched it from the old Shilton goalkeeper. Yeah, Shilton was a great goalkeeper for Derby. Obviously, a bit above my age range, but certainly one of our better goalkeepers in history. How are things going on elsewhere? Walsall have scored. So if we look at scores on the doors, Newport 0-0 at half time against Notts County. You've got Walsall and Swindon. Walsall have just scored to make it 2-1. Barrett has got that one. Shrewsbury Bromley is 0-0. They're about 10 minutes behind everybody else though. Crewe 3-1 in the 90th minute. 0-0 MK. Grimsby 3-0. Colchester Tranmere 1-1. Chesterfield Barrow 1-0 Chesterfield. Cambridge are winning 1-0 against Cheltenham. Harrogate are winning 1-0 against Bristol Rovers. Fleetwood are beating Barnet 2-0. Accrington are drawing 1-1 with Gillingham. And if we look up to League One, 3-1 Wigan are beating Northampton. 2-1 Rotherham are beating Port Vale. 3-1 Barnsley Plymouth. 2-0 Lincoln Reading. 2-0 Huddersfield Leyton Orient, 1-0 Doncaster. Doncaster are winning. Whoever came in the comments earlier talking about Donny, they are winning. 88 Molyneux with a penalty. Burton Albion 2-1 Mansfield. Bradford 2-1 against Wickham. Blackpool 3-2. Let's just jump over to the comments. Share about Wilson. He finished last season in amazing form. We'll miss him in the first part of the season. Don't currently have a great replacement as I don't think Niambi is ready. Spot on. I don't think Niambi is ready either. I think if Clark is fit, I think it'll be Rooney playing at right back next week with Clark slotting in at centre back, but we'll have to wait and see. I think Niambi is sort of right on the edge of being ready. I think he'll probably be on the bench in a week, but maybe not starting, and he might come on for 20 minutes. But we'll have to wait and see. My great-granddad played for Derby in the late 60s. He passed away around the Millwall home game. Oh, condolences, mate. Obviously, Jake Rooney could play right back, though, if another centre-back is fit. Absolutely, 100%. That's exactly what I think will happen if Clark is fit for me. I don't think there's anything else you can really sort of do in that sort of circumstance. I think Rooney's got to be I think Rooney's the one that's got to be called upon, if we're very open and honest, because Rooney is the guy. Rooney, for me, has been that guy during pre-season. I think he's been brilliant, and I think you can't take away from what he has done across the course of pre-season. Obviously, a lot of people have their own opinions on a player like Craig Forsyth, who, as much as he's coming towards the back end of his career, I think he's been outrageously good through pre-season. I think he's kept himself fit and essentially in tune with everything, which is obviously massively important, and that's obviously the most important thing, isn't it? So he's fit, he's available, he's done really, really well, and obviously as the season progresses and things like that, it will sort of be able to move in the likes of Owen Beck, the likes of Callum Elder and things like that. But I think that's going to be it for today. Obviously, very good game for Derby County, 2-0 victory. Corey Blackett-Taylor and Kenzo Heldmine picking up the goals. Rooney can be one of the best in the league, but on other days he can have terrible performances. He's almost a 50-50 player. I think with Rooney it's about giving him a run. You've got to give him games, and he's had that in pre-season, and I think he's been brilliant. He's played. I'm pretty sure he's played every game in pre-season, and I think he's been arguably one of our best players. Now, everyone can have their own opinions, of course, but for me, Jake Rooney has to be given the opportunity. If he's not given the opportunity, he can't prove himself for me. I think that's the same with Dejan Brown, same with Charles Abuka, Cruz Allen, Niall McAndrew, things like that. But we're gonna call it there. I appreciate every single one of you for stopping by. Derby for the super chat earlier on in the stream as well. And obviously everyone that stopped by, everyone that's dropped a comment, a like, everything like that, it's massively appreciated. And if you haven't done it already, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Might be live a couple of times next week, but we'll sort of see how the week goes, see if there's anything to talk about. But it's going to be an interesting week as we head into the first game of the season. First lineup of the season, I think the same team as this, but Rooney at right back, hopefully another centre back fit. Also put Ozzo in most likely for Tomo. Completely agree. But that is going to be it, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. If you have not done so already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and I'll catch you in a video probably tomorrow. Might even catch you live, not entirely sure. We'll see what goes off. But I'll see you later on.